Sarah Partridge on WBGO. Michael Bourne with you, and the aforeplayed Sarah Partridge. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, hello. So, who are you?
Oh, God. Question again?
No, it's the hardest. You know, the interesting thing is sometimes it's just to ask for the thumbnail, for one's own thumb.
Right.
Sketch.
Right. Right.
So where do you come from? Why are you a singer and all of that?
Well, the abbreviated story is born in Boston, moved at age 15 to Birmingham, Alabama, schooled in Chicago.
Why all of these moves?
Well, let's see. The first
military family?
No, not at all.
No?
Architectural family.
Oh, wow.
My dad was an architect, and in the mid-'70s, his firm in Boston opened up a southern office, and we moved. He went down to head it up, and we went down with him, and my family is still there. My brother's in Montgomery, my mother's in Birmingham. I got out and went to Northwestern University in Chicago, where I majored in theater. And
I'm listening for an accent, but I don't really hear anything.
Well, I never had the Boston accent. My father was from Buffalo. My mother's Canadian. I didn't pick up the southern accent, although my brother, who's 6 years younger, he's got that thing going on now.
Okay.
But I never got it.
You never got the Chicago?
I never got the Chicago, no.
Okay.
No, I never got that.
But where in this very peripatetic life did you become a singer? About
10 years ago, I was living in Los Angeles acting. I'd acted in Chicago quite a bit and made the move to L.A. and made an okay living there doing that. And you want to hear the story, how the singing happened?
Sure. That's why you're here, Sarah Partridge.
I'd like to, schooled at Juilliard and studied theory and,
Accidental,
but no,
right?
Accidental in a way. I mean, I did sing in musicals, but that wasn't my forte because I don't have a big, booming Broadway voice, and so I didn't do that many. But I always loved to sing. So I'm at the Improv in L.A. one night with a bunch of friends, and there's this karaoke going on, okay? I know. I see the look on your face. And that's exactly what I do.
Why not? Why not?
So this friend of mine says, well, you sing. Go up and do something. Like, no. I'm not going up there. I don't like all this music, this schmaltz here. It's awful. So they, forced me up there. And I found a version of Summertime. That was, the best it got. So I did that, and I get back to the table, and, my friends say, well, we didn't know you sang like that. And I said, well, I happen to know this music very well. It was played in my house all the time. A booker comes up to me. It just so happens, and he says, well, we need to do something with this. And so, it wasn't an overnight sensation, but it started the ball rolling. I was introduced to jazz musicians. I started gigging, and one thing led to another. And the acting kind of finally went by the wayside once I got to New York. So that's it.
You couldn't do the two.
I could, but I have two small children.
There you go.
I did keep the acting going for a while in terms of commercial work and voiceovers.
There's the money anyway.
Yeah, and when my kids get a little bit older, I'm going back to it, because
Sure.
it's definitely can fit into the schedule, as you know, because it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time. It's fun, and it would get my foot back in the door. But the music has sort of taken over.
Takes chunks of your soul.
Yeah, it does.
So does singing.
Yeah, it does.
That's where I didn't get my break at the karaoke. The one karaoke I was at, I wasn't really at. I was suffering to be there.
Yeah.
And all these people were getting up and singing pop hits I'd never heard of before,
Right.
out of tune. And so they said, oh, Bourne, get up. And I get up and I say, okay. I go to the guy. I said, he's got 5,000 songs in his karaoke thing. I said, what do you got by Ethel Merman? He says, nothing. I said, you got anything by Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts? He said, no. Goodbye.
That's it.
That was my karaoke experience.
Well,
you didn't have what I wanted to sing.
That was basically mine. I was very...
What did you sing?
Summertime.
You sang Summertime.
Yeah, so I found the one song that I could have sung on there. And so it goes.
And so it goes.
But, it's a little bit of an embarrassing story, but,
It's not embarrassing at all. It's colorful.
Thank you.
And it's ironic.
It is ironic.
There's not enough irony in this world.
Well, boy.
Surprisingly enough.
That's true.
Let's listen to you dramatically sing. Or swingingly sing. You got to be an actor to sing songs.
That's true.
There's stories. There's little one-act plays.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes three-act plays, I think.
This one is from, I think, one of the stupidest musicals ever, Brigadoon. It's got the stupidest plot ever.
You're absolutely right, but this
Great
is
songs.
Great songs. A lot of great songs in that show.
Lerner and Lowe.
But this is a very different version of it.
Yeah, this is not your Gene Kelly
No.
In the Heather.
No.
From Sarah Partridge on Jazz 88. Sarah Partridge on Jazz 88. I want to tell you that you're listening to WBGO for one thing. And the album is called Blame It on My Youth. Is that what you blame it on?
Some of it, yeah.
Some of it.
A lot of it, actually, in a good way, because this music was always in our house. My parents were not musicians, but my father really was an incredible jazz appreciator, and he loved the female singers, but he played everybody. And so, from the time I was 4 or 5, I'm telling you, I was singing Lush Life, listening to Dakota Staten, and none of my peers knew what I was talking about. But so it was always here in my heart, and I just never dreamed that it would formulate into anything.
It's curious about the song Blame It on My Youth because it's a song by Oscar Levant.
Right.
And it's really about, don't blame me, I'm young and abandoned.
Right.
Or I have abandoned myself to you.
Right.
And that's when art is the best, when you have abandoned yourself. Like a child.
That's right. You have to remain a child to be artistic at all. Because kids, everything is so honest with kids. I think that's the key ingredient. And to stay honest in a song, even, is what's very important. To live in it honestly. And kids are honest, brutally honest at times.
Do you sing to your kids?
I do, to the point where they say, "Don't sing, Mom. Don't sing."
How old are they?
8 and 5. Two little guys who... But here's the great thing. My 8-year-old is taking trumpet lessons, and apparently he's got the chops. And he's working on So What right now. Miles.
Excellent.
It's great. And the first thing he did was Herbie Hancock's Watermelon Man. I mean...
Amazing.
It's really great.
This is the 8?
He's the 8-year-old. He's like me. He's talking about Miles and, listening to Ella, and his friends are all listening to, Britney Spears and whatever all those things.
There's time for that, and it's really not about listening, isn't it? It's about seeing.
That's right. I don't know if he's seen yet. That's
8 years old, no. I don't know, you start getting into jazz, you mature quicker.
Yeah, he's a mature little guy. He's an old soul.
Or something to that effect.
Something.
Nagel Higher, how'd you get on Nagel Higher? This is one of the better labels out and about in the world.
Well, it started actually, I guess it was a few years ago. We talked to them, approached them about doing something, because I liked who they had on their label.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have room for me at the time. They liked my first CD, but said, just can't do another one right now. And a couple years later, it just sort of worked out. It was a nice sort of timing thing. And they let me do what I wanted to do, which was work with some of my favorite people here on the East Coast and some of my favorite people on the West Coast. So it took a little more time, but I was able to really sort of put together a bunch of different sounds within the standards that I do mostly on this CD.
She didn't go over to Germany and record.
I didn't, it's a German label, but I didn't go over there.
I mean, it really is in some way, and I mean this in a nice and applaud them. It's almost like they're doing it out of their house.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I think I get the feeling that you're right. And
there's people who love this music and want to make good records.
They love it, and it's so apparent when you talk to them. That's really all they care about, the fact that they want to put out